Aloha once again, and welcome back to the 7th Direction. My name is David, and the series is called the 7th Direction because that's what we're focused on. We're focused on going in that direction. What direction is that? Straight into you. Now, I keep pointing at that spot when I talk about going straight into you for a couple of reasons. We'll start to talk about some of them today, but one we've already talked about, which is that when you do your meditation, a very good visualization can be to just put a little spot of white light right there as you close your eyes and enter into a state of relaxed concentration and focus on that white light. And that in and of itself can lead to some very interesting experiences. We're going to talk about some of those a little bit today, connected to this idea that we are light. Now, as I said in a previous episode, modern science is already verifying this, not just from the subatomic level where we can pull ourselves apart all the way down to the tiniest little pieces, and then those pieces disappear into waves of light. And it's more than just research. They're now doing medicine where they're applying magnets and not radiation, but actual visible light itself to areas of the brain, all kinds of areas of the body to produce healing, sometimes very dramatic healing. So light itself is now being used by society to heal the body, our body, in ways that, if you just think of light as being this sort of abstract thing all around, wouldn't seem to have any relevance. And yet it does have relevance. Very important relevance. Its relevance you can also bump into during your meditations, because one of the first experiences that you are likely to have while you are sitting in your very relaxed state and you are visualizing your white light spot in your head is that white light is going to change colors. And the colors that it changes into will be, at one time or another, all of the different colors of the rainbow. So those 7 colors are all not just elements of the rainbow. If you take a white light, standard white light, and you shine it through a prism, meaning any crystal, the same thing happens to the light as happens to sunlight passing through rain. And what is that? You get a rainbow. Where does a rainbow come from? A rainbow is sunlight passing through water droplets that are acting like a prism and splitting that light into its 7 basic colors. If you do your meditations on a regular basis, you will discover that you too are made of these 7 colors. And if this sounds a little ridiculous to you at first glance, I understand you completely, because it sounded ridiculous to me as well. Before I started meditating, before I became this kind of a person, I was regular jerk who was very self-centered, very money-oriented, very materialistic. The only colors that ever mattered to me were brown and dark brown. I mean, I'm a man. I was a commodities trader. I had no connection to any of these things. I thought all of the things that I now think are so critically important to life and understanding and wisdom, I thought they were ridiculous and totally absurd and inane and not relevant to anything. As I mentioned the other day, changing your point of view is pretty important. We'll get back to that today. But in any case, as a demonstration of how far you can change when your point of view changes, the first time I sat down to do meditation, the very first time, I remember exactly where it was, in Northwest Indiana. I sat down, I closed my eyes, And the first meaningful message that I ever got was that color was the most important thing in the universe. And I literally remember having my eyes pop open and saying out loud to an empty room, "That's the dumbest frickin' thing I ever heard in my life," and I did not use the word frickin'. But I had given myself the same advice that I now give to you, which is that whatever happens during your 15 minutes of meditation, you take it seriously as anything else that happens in your life, as seriously as eating or going to the bathroom or meeting a friend or making a phone call or doing work or anything else. That to make this experience really count, you have to believe in it. You have to get past your skepticism, and whatever happens, you just go with it and try to make sense out of it. Well, that's what I did. Universe says color's the most important thing in the universe, and I said, yeah, okay, whatever. But I went to the library, and I wound up in the 009 spiritual section with Buddhism and Hinduism and all that sort of stuff, and a book more or less falls off the shelf in my hands, and I pop it open, and what do I discover? I discover that there are billions of people all over the planet, all throughout the Eastern philosophies, who completely understand that you are made of colors, and that within you is this rainbow, a thing they call your chakra set. And you have 7 of these chakras, and the chakras are each one the color of one color of the rainbow. And you can walk these colors, these spinning pools of light that form your core. You can see them when you meditate. You can move up and down through them. They go from red down by where your genitals are, to orange, which is just below your navel, to yellow, which is where your diaphragm is, to green, which is where your heart is, to blue, which is where your voice box is, to indigo, which is where your third eye is. So now we can see this spot might mean a couple different things to us. And then your crown chakra is violet. You yourself can sit and experience seeing these colors within yourself. How do you know this is not your imagination? You use all of this outside support information that you can get to reaffirm, to renew your constant belief, your disciplined acceptance. Belief is a very amorphous kind of a word. Disciplined acceptance means that you have said you will accept, at least to a basic level, the ideas that you encounter, enough to take them seriously and at least dig a little bit further into them to see if they are real. You won't be able to find the truth of yourself without digging around a little bit. But you can do it. And what is most interesting is that as you poke around in any support material that you find, whether it's New Age material, shamanism, Buddhism, Hinduism, in fact, there are other types of spirituality that mention that we are all light. There's an author and philanthropist and anthropologist named Carlos Castaneda, and in the experience of Castaneda, he went and he interviewed and lived with some very special people, shaman, who lived in Central America. And as a part of the philosophy of the shaman, they see all humans as glowing, luminous balls of light that are shaped like an egg. and that floating on this egg is this very magical little spot that looks like that big red storm that circles on the planet Jupiter that's been there for hundreds of years, what they call the big red spot. And it's this big spot that circles around up in the atmosphere of Jupiter. And that's the way they see us. They see us as this big sort of egg-shaped ball of light that has this floating spot on it that's sort of spinning around, and all the information from the universe, all the light from the rest of the universe comes through that one spot and then goes into our system and gets processed. And in the language of Castaneda, this is called the assemblage point. This is the place at which you take all the light and you put it into your system and you build it into your reality. It's what we call point of view. That is why I was saying earlier, changing your point of view might be much more important than you think it is. If the universe is actually made of light, and therefore we don't really understand what the physical rules are, but maybe, as science has indicated to us, the behavior of subatomic particles changes when we look at them. In other words, when we apply consciousness to them. If we live in a universe of light that is defined and shaped by consciousness, then obviously consciousness is much more powerful than we think. We need to give it much more attention than we're currently giving it in terms of what goes into it, which of course is the entire philosophy of both Hawaiian Ho'oponopono and the Kabbalah of Judaism is all about these qualities. They don't see us, care about looking at us as light waves and balls of light. They see us as aspects of consciousness, and if God is consciousness and all of the qualities of God and man are in you and in God, then what do you want to be? What kind of a man do you want to be? What are the qualities that you can bring out? The qualities of consciousness. So if this machine is not physical, as science says it's not physical, and as mysticism says it's not physical, if it's not physical, then what is it? If it is a light experience shaped by consciousness, then your assemblage point of view defines your experience. It defines who you are. It defines why you are here. It defines the purpose of life. All possible just by seeing that the universe is made of light. Is the universe made of light? If you believe what science says, yes. If you believe what mysticism says, yes. But you're not after a belief system. You're after certainty. Look at your elbow. Is this your elbow today, and will it be your elbow tomorrow? And if you stop believing that it's your elbow, will it make any difference? And the answer is no. Just like whether you believe you will continue after you die, if you don't, you were wrong, and what you thought or believed doesn't matter, and it's the same in the reverse. If you do continue after you die, then thinking that you don't doesn't matter. You're only after the truth of you. How can you experience it? Go into your meditations. Swim around in your white light. When you see colors, understand that really is you, and that the composition of you is light. It's this combination of colors. You can work with it. The universe might not be exactly what you think. You might have powerful ways to change your experience that you're just unaware of. That's what we're going to talk about as we keep going in our 7th direction. I hope you're having a good day. We'll talk again soon. Aloha.